In the last lesson, we saw how to make our attributes readable so that we can return one of the pieces of information or any one piece of information in a class. In this lesson, we're going to see how to make our attributes writable so that we can change them. So let's open up the definition for the name class. And I've gone back to where the name class has just a initialization method and a toString method. To make an attribute writable, we create a method like this. I can actually spread that out a little bit. Now in my main program, I can change the first name by assigning it a new value. So let's take a look. Save the program. Let's run it. So see, now we've changed the first name to Joan. We did this by adding an equal sign and an attribute inside parentheses, followed by inside the body, the attribute with an @ sign, and assigning it the value of the variable in parentheses, really almost like a parameter is what it is. So we could write the other attributes that way also. And now all of the attributes of the class are writable. But there's an easier way to do that. So let's get rid of all these definitions that we just created. We can write it all in one fell swoop. Using this syntax right here. Let me put a space there. So by doing that, by writing attr_writer followed by a list that includes a colon and each attribute separated by a comma, we're saying that we want each attribute to be writable so that we could modify any of the attributes. So that when we save and run this program, we've completely changed the name. So that would be the preferred way to make the attributes writable. And now that we've done that, I can also show you the best way to make the attributes readable also. And that's to use the same essential notation, but this time using attr_reader versus attr_writer. So now I can come into the program. Now this will not be very readable. There won't be any spaces between the names, but you get the idea of what can be done. Let's fix that real quick. So there are names. After we've changed them using the writable attributes, then we printed them again with printable attributes. And to make that a little bit easier to read, we could put spaces there. Which made our program just a little bit easier to read. So that concludes this lesson on writable attributes, and we also included a little snippet of information on making all of our attributes readable in one line also. I'd like to move on to the next lesson where we're going to talk about class variables. These are variables whose value will stay the same throughout instances of an object. For example, if we want to keep track of how many name objects are created in a program, we can do that using what's called a class variable. And we're going to see how to do that in the next lesson.